Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Few. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Elizabeth and I am the DM of this here little group. Today we will be getting to a very exciting video. This will be our second session 0 of our set of 5. This one today will be featuring none other than Sylvinis Nightingale, played by the wonderful Pat. Pat's pretty quiet.
I try to be.
Anyway, there's not too much intro that needs to be going along with this one, so without further ado, I figured we'd jump right in if that is okay with you.
Wonderful.
Alright, so, first and foremost, Pat, would you like to describe your character?
Sure. So Sylvinis is a tall but very thin half-elf. Going from head to foot, he has tousled white hair with elvish ears that stick out. The only really elvish features that he really has with green eyes that are very bright, but they sit behind a pair of reading glasses. As you go down his body, you would see he wears 3 layers of clothing, a button-down white shirt, a vest that goes over top, and a royal blue overcoat, like dinner jacket, that goes down. Going down to his arms is a pair of white gloves that are all the way to the elbow. Usually sitting on his back is his violin on a sling of sorts, but more than often not is in his hands. He wears a pair of normal pants and of boots that rise up to his mid-shin. He usually has a standard expression of mild annoyance, but sometimes a cold, calculating look as he takes in his surroundings.
Alright, and walking alongside Syl on this wonderful sunny morning of sorts is none other than his very trusted companion, Rare. Would you like to describe Rare for everyone, please?
Sure. So Rare is quite different from Sylvinis, being a red tiefling. She has curled horns on the side of her head, with black hair that goes down to the middle of her back, with also black eyes, dressed in a very simple dress, with a myriad of colors of like blue, white, even a little bit of green here and there, but not patched in a way. It was just made to be like this, almost like a swirling colors, almost like a carnival ride of sorts. She wears boots too, but that go up only about a few inches past her ankles. And unlike Sylvinis, she's bright and smiling, while he's more of cold and dreary.
Apologies if you were able to hear that. Our tech person is, well, he was eating grapes, but is not eating grapes anymore.
Ooh. Called out already.
Moving along, it is mid-morning, getting towards late morning.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is in the sky. It is nearly a cloudless day in the wonderful city of Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
This area of town is pretty clean. You are in the Noble District. You are taking a stroll with your companion. The gray stone, not so much cobblestone, but larger sort of like limestone pathways that carts would drive on and that people would walk on is bright and clean in this district. You've noticed more so than some of the other districts potentially. It also sits far enough away from the docks where you don't have to worry about everything always being slick with seawater. The buildings here are fairly extravagant, draped in all sorts of manners of banners, and the wood is still like pristine. It seems like the taverns and inns here would be nicer than the ones you're currently staying at, but at the same time, quite a bit of coin as well. It's a fairly busy day, nothing too special, but still there are carts set out on the corners selling things. The shops are open for business, and you and Rare are just walking through trying to figure out what you could do today and any opportunities that might be available to the two of you.
I believe it's in our best interest to start looking around and talking around a bit. Perhaps not talking, but just reading the atmosphere around us and looking upon some of the different billboards to see what's going on currently in Baldur's Gate.
I think that would definitely be a good idea. After all, I mean, well, the coins that you brought from Waterdeep are certainly not going to last forever, and As far as people to rub elbows with, these certainly seem like the right kind of people.
Yes, right in furthering our goals, the type of people, not my favorite kind.
No, certainly not, but, well, money talks, as they say.
And it makes the world go round.
It certainly does. Speaking of which, speaking of billboards, do you see this over here? So Rare walks up to a billboard and sort of pulls a flyer off of it. You've at this point wandered pretty close to like the noblest of the noble district, where a lot of the runnings of the city is going on at. You can see maybe like 150 yards further down the road, a pathway opens up to where Baldur's Gate, like castle keep, is the palace where the 4 people who rule Baldur's Gate on a council sort of preside over everything. But she hands you a banner that sort of says that the castle is actually having a sort of like open to the public day today, where you can go in and receive either a tour or possibly meet with some of the important people who live at the castle, and different things like that. But Rare hands it to you, her eyes sort of lighting up a bit as she's starting to think of all of the different ways that this could play out in your favor. What do you think? A good idea?
Yes, but let's just take a moment and consider why they're doing this.
Well,
we are still going to do it nevertheless.
Maybe simply want to make themselves seem open and approachable to, well, maybe not the common masses, but at the very least, the noble masses.
Yes, I believe it's the same way, but why are they doing this? I think it might be the reason that their control might not be as secure as they might think. We should probably keep an eye out on some of the more grumblings. Either we can stay away from the people that are grumbling to keep in more of out of the limelight of the world, or we can make use of those grumblings.
A good idea. This is why I like you. You're always thinking.
We both think very well. We just both think in different ways, and we cover each other's weaknesses when we both think.
Very true. Well then, should we be off?
Yes, we should.
So, do you head off towards the castle?
Yes, I do.
Alright, so as you approach this is an absolutely massive building. Maybe not as opulent as something that you might have seen in Waterdeep.
Yes.
Simply because with its positioning being further down the Sword Coast and with its positioning being closer to the unrest that occurred in Kalimshan and right on the water, it seems that there was a measure of practicality put into this building.
While defensible.
While it is beautiful, shining, like silvery stone to the point where it is so clean that it almost appears like a white silver.
Yes.
Draped in like various banners for Baldur's Gate, the like the red and silver that is the city is like accustomed to, sort of adorning it. As I said, beautiful but defensible, and practical, though about as over the top as you can make something while it's still being usable.
Is there any parts of the castle that look newer than the rest? Like something that might have been renovated, built on, repaired?
Funny enough, no. While it is all clean, you can certainly see that this is a building that has stood the test of time. And it seems as though it was placed here, and it almost seems like stubborn in its build. It has not been changed, it has not been modified, but at the same time, none of it has been worn down more so than the rest, and it doesn't appear to have been like maybe a fire happened and some parts burned down. It seems as though this building was built and there it has stood.
I know there was mention of there was 4 that rule the city. Is there any personal banners that hang from any like the spires or anything like that?
Not personal banners per se, no. One banner that you would know belongs to the Flaming Fists, which is the, like, I don't want to say police force, but sort of one of like the guard forces that exists specifically in the noble district, though they also do police sometimes in the more merchant districts.
Mm-hmm.
And you would know that one of the 4 councilmen that are oversee the city are responsible for overseeing this group. But that banner hangs there, but it doesn't seem that there are any banners specific to the four houses, or the four rulers rather. It seems that they are, if not content, have put aside their own personal factions and have stepped into a role where the council sort of almost acts as one. And in that way, it's unlike Waterdeep in the sense that the ties to their personal houses are less important than the fact that they are on this council.
Interesting. So it's more of a united front than a independent factions.
It would seem that that is the message that they're attempting to portray at the very least.
Interesting.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So, do you walk in?
Yes. There seem to be like a crowd or like a large amount of people going here. Or do we seem to be like the only two that showed up?
There are not too many people walking in now. As you are approaching and like walking along the path that leads to the front doors, you would notice a group of about 7 or 8 people that are leaving the castle and sort of walking past you.
What does seem to be the most like the races, like the top 3 that are coming and leaving?
Oh, human, elf, and dwarf, absolutely. You would know that. Well, for one, the noble district is you have to have a reason to be in the noble district. You cannot simply walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Your pedigree is what allows you inside, and the fact that most people assume that Rare is your servant is the only reason that she is allowed inside. Otherwise, there are a lot of races that would not be so easily let in to the noble district, let alone to the castle.
Noted. Even
then, a few members of the group sort of that are passing you sort of give a side eye to Rare. As they walk, she seems unbothered by it, kind of knowing what she's getting herself into. But do you go inside?
Yes.
Right. As you go inside, there appears to be a young squire of sorts, sort of dealing with sort of like the group that just left. Maybe he was like either their tour guide throughout the castle, but he's just like doing like some light paperwork sort of at the entrance of the castle, that sort of thing. He doesn't seem to notice you've walked in yet.
Okay. Are we the only two of the...
You are currently the only two standing in the entrance hall there.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Is there tour still going on?
Oh, yes, sorry. You actually just missed the last one that went through. That one left maybe about 10-15 minutes ago. You would be hard-pressed to catch up to them now. There'll be another one in about 45 more minutes, or if you would like, if you're familiar with our castle, he kind of gives a look over to Rare. Probably not, from my sense of it. But if you
What gave that impression?
Just that I have not seen your face around here before. I typically know the nobles of our area pretty well, and I do not know you. Are you from Baldur's Gate?
I am not, but that is also, may I add, a very good skill to have, to know faces and remembering them.
Well, thank you. He seems sort of like a little bit pleased with himself. If you would like, there are a few rooms close by that I could lead you to if you would prefer to show yourself around. Obviously, there's a few rooms where there's not too much harm to be done with you walking around.
That is very much appreciated. And your name?
Oh, yes. My name is, what's his name? My name is Thaden.
Spell?
Thyden.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes, just a squire here, but still happy to be of help. Trying to think, what rooms do we have that we could show you? We have the Royal Library nearby, right off the entrance hall that we could show you. Let's see. We have some steps here that lead to the observatory, which is might need a tour guide for that one. But I could definitely show you to the library if you wished.
Could we hit both, with the library being first?
You could begin with the library first, yes, I can show you that.
You did mention you're a squire, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Are you in squire to someone or some group?
Um, I okay. So I'm not necessarily a squire yet. I'm about to become a squire of sorts. I got a job working at the castle, and I inquired about being a squire. Or maybe I should have been a bard instead. But
It's not all cut out to be, trust me.
Are you a bard?
Yes, in the teachings of, I am not a full-fledged one yet, but I have some skill with the musical instruments.
Ooh. Maybe I can arrange you, well, never mind. I don't actually want to talk to her enough to, arrange a meeting, but, if luck is on your side or luck is not on your side, perhaps you, will run into Lady Colette.
From what I know of bards, luck either falls so much on their side that it's unbelievable, or so drastically not that they don't stay being a bard long.
Well, if you do run into her, I'm, not sure which one that would be considered, but still. I got a job at the castle, and I'm about to be assigned to be a knight squire at this castle so that I can learn how to be an adventurer of my own and help protect some of the going-ons that happen outside of the castle gates here and outside of the town, because you certainly know how dangerous things can be throughout the world these days.
Monsters, bandits, pirates, depending which way you turn, there seems to be a new problem arising.
Yes, well, I will train my hardest and do my best. But the library, you said, yes?
Correct.
All right, let me take you. So he shows you through one of the doors. It's a massive set of double doors. Solid wood, very darkly stained. Contrasts very, very, nicely, but also, powerfully with the lightness of the stone. But these doors are probably 20 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and get pushed open, and you see a library before you that is absolutely massive in size. We are talking 4 stories, bookshelves surrounding the walls, bookshelves and sitting in the middle. The bookshelves that are sitting in the center, because the center of it is kind of open and the 4 stories are more along the outside. But the shelves may be built with some kind of magic, maybe just built by someone who is very, very good at constructing things. The shelves that sit freely in the middle, since it is completely open, are 4 stories tall themselves, with ladders that sort of slide back and forth on each side of these shelves that are about 50 feet long themselves and 4 stories tall, and there's ladders that kind of slide side to side over the span of the 50 feet so that you can go up and acquire any book you see that you might want. But it looks to be there has to be somewhere in the realm of maybe 1.5, 2 million books in this library. And that's not to say all of the different trinkets and odds and ends that are sort of in the corners. But it seems to just be, it's more books than you've ever seen. It puts anything that was in your mansion in Waterdeep. It makes it look like poor people stuff. He's like, oh, well, this is the library. Would you like me to come and get you when a tour guide does become available so he can show you around the rest of the castle?
That would be very welcome.
All right, I will do. Is there anything else you need?
Just a question or two about the library.
Yes.
Do you have a librarian, bookkeeper, someone that checks on or takes care of the library?
In a sense, yes. So I don't know if you are aware of this, but operating out of our castle here is the Mage Academy.
I do not know that.
Yes. So this is where a lot of the mages stay. So a couple of them do take an interest in a lot of the books here, and we have sort of left it up to them to help run the library. After all, they are pretty well learned, and their arcane abilities and arcane knowledge far surpass any of that of the general public, so they seem to be the best aligned. But as far as a head bookkeeper goes, there is one in particular. She is the prefect of the Elementalist School, which is one of the schools of mages that we have here. Aside from that, any of the prefects would be able to help you, mainly if you are able to find any of them, though they do have their own studies and own things to attend to, so there's not always someone here for that. Apologies.
Should I be concerned about how the prefects are?
No, from what I hear, a couple of them are more feisty than others. But for the most part, I've only ever met with one of them. She is a rather bright and, I won't say intense, but focused young mage. Her name is Aqua. She is the prefect of the Knight Enchantresses. She is prodigious in her talents and very studious and astute in her studies. If you do run into her, then honestly, she would be able to help you with a lot of the things that you might need.
Interesting, because I know from my city, the mages tend to be a bit more self-centered.
Oh no, not here. If anything, the Mage Academy that we have here is honestly where a lot of people turn to, not only for help within the city walls, but for any major going-ons that might occur outside of the city, where someone might need a guard or some sort of someone who might be more knowledgeable with arcane things, if they have a quest or if they have a delivery going from one town to another. The Mage Academy is one of the first places that they turn to, and they're always ready to help. They're sort of like some place where people can turn to, where they're always going to find, for a price, of course, help in a lot of the various tasks.
And why did you not join the Mage Academy and instead became a squire?
Why did I not join the Mage Academy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I have about as much magical ability in my bones as a mug of ale, I'm afraid. If you're not familiar with how the mages themselves work, obviously, yourself being a bard, sometimes you just have that magic inside of you, and sometimes you don't. It is not something that one can teach. You either are born with it or you're not. Think like a sorcerer or sorceress. It is either in your bloodline or it isn't. And it is the same thing with mages. When the Great War happened and the gods of good and law created all of the artifacts that and focuses that the mages use, they were set to work with a specific person of sorts, and though they can still be activated after that, the ability to have one work for you and harness the focus is either something that you were born with or something that you are not. It seems that magic in our world has reached such a point where, it's not something that you can just pick up a book and read and learn about anymore. It's just, well, most of us, I only know one person who can still do that, but well, I wasn't born with it, so.
And that person is?
Someone who works at the castle for us. You, I'm sure, might meet him if your tour goes a certain way.
Smoothly or not smoothly?
Neither, just if your tour guide has a sense of humor and decides to take you around him.
Not smoothly as it is, I understand.
Anything else I can help you with? Because I should be getting back to my work.
Please, I don't want to get you in trouble at all.
Right, thank you, and enjoy your stay at the castle. And he walks out and leaves, leaving you and Rare in the library. Rare turns to you. Were you actually not aware that that they had the Mage Academy here?
No, I actually took some time to study. I just want to see if he is a type of person that is very free with his information or not.
He seemed honest, though maybe not the best informed.
Seems his head is in the right place. It's just maybe he needs some time of realizing not everyone is as nice as he seems.
Definitely fair. Well, what are you gonna do? He'd make a good well, he might make a good squire yet.
Depending on who his teacher is.
Also true. Wow, this is this is a lot of books.
Yes. I wonder if there's any of recent times, or are they keeping that not in here?
There might be. I don't imagine they'll keep the most rare things out in some place where they would let two people from another city in by themselves unsupervised to look through, for being honest.
Mm-hmm. I do want to see if there's any books of the history of Baldur's Gate. Usually people tend to follow a certain type of events. If it happens once, it usually repeats. I want to see if there's anything of a certain type of events that repeats here, whether it be rebellions, revolutions, dragons coming and raining down fire. I want to know if there's anything here that we should be aware it might happen again.
That is good to know. In that case, I suggest that maybe we split up. With how connected this city seems to be to its mage academy, I'm going to look for any books regarding that, as well as any books regarding history of mages themselves from now all the way back through the Great War.
I'm going to be taking a look at the council, seeing when the council came apart, how it did, and why they are the current ones. You don't suddenly get 4 people on a council unless something happened.
Probably not wrong. Well, then I will be on my way, and I will see you when he calls for us in 45 minutes.
Yes.
Rare walks off, leaving you to do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do?
I would like to look for books about the council, like how it became the council, how long it's been going for, why a council was created, and how you become a member of the council.
All right. Well, then for the first roll of your session 0, make an investigation check.
Oh, that's good. That's a 23.
A 23. So you're able to pretty handily find the history section. You find yourself still on the first floor. You sort of see a couple of books of Baldur's Gates. Some are just like histories of like the shipping of it, the history of how the city was founded, different things like that. But you are able to find a book entitled Modern Politics of Baldur's Gate, which you think might be useful. Giving you just like a skim rundown of the useful information you're looking to find. It appears as though the council came to be about 23 years ago only. Prior to that, it was a republic of sorts where they had a huge caucus of nobles from many different houses running things. Though then a fairly tragic event happened where one of the heads of the caucus, because there were, I'd say probably like 8 or 10 heads of the caucus who sort of oversaw things, essentially started behaving very strangely and oddly. There were proposed investigations into his house and his behavior for this, though just due to the size of the caucus, no one could agree on how they should do these things, whether his privacy should be respected or not. And eventually he completed a ritual to an evil god, Baal, who is one of the 16 gods that oversee the world of Toriel. And upon this, he himself became an avatar of Baal, wreaking hell upon the city, destroying and murdering a countless number of people before he was eventually put down, not before, obviously dealing quite a blow to the city. And since that point, they sort of decided that they would move instead to a council of 4, so that way decisions could be made in a much more swift and decisive manner.
Who killed the Avatar?
In this book, it does not say. And though you do not read his name, it would mention that one of the leaders, the chair, like the head people of the caucus, did in fact step up to become one of the original 4 chairmen. The other 3 were not members of either the heads of the caucus or the caucus beforehand. They are new. But as you are reading through your book, someone actually bumps into you as they are walking by you. You would turn around, I imagine, to look at the person who bumped into you. You would hear, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was not watching where I was going at all. And you would turn and you would see a half elf boy, maybe only about 5'1", very very slender build, almost like dainty in appearance, wearing really really extravagant green and brown robes, pants, boots, with like a very ornate bow and quiver swung over one shoulder.
Oh, it's fine. I was just practicing how to be a statue.
From behind you once more, not directly behind you, but from a side of you that you're not looking on, you hear, a sense of humor. You better be careful in that castle. They do not last very long. Do you turn to look at the voice?
After that, yes.
You would turn and you would see a light purple-skinned, about 5'10" tiefling, black hair about shoulder length, sort of tumbling off to one side, both in front of his horn and behind his horn. His horn's kind of swerving up and coming down like this. He is wearing mostly like black and light gray clothing, a little bit tighter fitting and a little bit less extravagant than the first individual you met. And he has it appears he has a rapier stored on one hip, and you can see peeking out from his coat are hung on like the back of his hips are 2 hand crossbows. Interesting. He's just looking at you like interestedly, kind of like looking you up and down, just trying to see what to make of you.
Question.
Answer.
Is the half elf still there?
Yes, they're both still there.
Okay, so could I possibly insight to see if like this was a purposely thing, like the one bumped in?
You can certainly try.
Okay. 8.
8. Hard to tell, though. It seems that the half elf, at least, is almost a little bit too flustered and embarrassed by what he has done to be lying about it.
Okay.
Hard to read the tiefling though, but the half elf would be.
You do not say sorry before you start.
Does Syl say that?
Yes.
Right. I must have not been watching where I was going. Come to think of it, I don't know that I've ever seen you around here before.
Well, judging by a few moments ago, you have not seen me before.
You hear like a slight cackle from the tiefling behind you. And then he sort of walks up and puts his hand around the half elf. Well, that is our prince, always in such a hurry to help others that he sometimes forgets to watch himself, or for others.
I'm sure if he meant to bump into me, he would have done it in a way that I would not be getting up so quickly.
Oh no, he's certainly not malicious. He's practically harmless, and at that, you sort of see the half elf to sort of swat the tiefling.
No, but you have not seen me. I believe I should introduce myself. I am Sylvinis Nightingale. I hail from Waterdeep.
Nice to meet you, Sylvinis. I'm Prince Finn. Finn is my name.
As if it's short for something. Because you seem a bit short of breath right now.
No, it's not short for anything at all. I am the son of one of the councilmen here. We were just going out to actually to have a look at something that my mother wanted me to look at. Oh, and this is, and the tiefling, I can introduce myself. My name is Liari. I am the prince's assistant here.
Protector.
Of sorts. He doesn't do a half-bad job of protecting himself.
I judged that by the bow and quiver on his back. Not many princes I have ever heard of carry a weapon on them. Usually they have people do that for them, but it is a comforting sight to see that he can hold it, handle himself quite well.
Yes, His Majesty looks over, sort of gives like a smirk. The prince like makes a face at him. Certainly quite the accomplished archer. It's simply good practice whenever we're venturing outside of the walls of the noble district. Many people can be well, to put it bluntly, not everyone likes the nobles and the royals out among the masses, and even out among the non-nobles and the masses, or among them rather. Not that many people like individuals like me either.
I see nothing wrong with tieflings. He would say infernal.
Well, you certainly don't see that every day, he says in infernal.
I'm trying to think how you would word this. I am quite fond of the lesser races, even though many are not fond of your race. He was continuing to speak in infernal.
Good to know. So, in infernal, you're dressed like a noble, and I don't know that I've ever seen an unsupervised tiefling running around our library before, so am I to assume that the cute thing up on the 3rd floor, looking through histories of the history of the Mage Academy, was with you?
Yes, she is. I know many of the nobles think that everyone that is not a human, elf, dwarf, or of half-blood, such as myself, should be on a tight leash. I believe that Rare should be able to see and do as she pleases, within reason, of course, without breaking the law.
Well, that is certainly a refreshing opinion. He would return to common. Also, I won't even make you make an insight check. From the way he was following the conversation, it seemed like the prince could understand everything that was being said as well.
I would be shocked if he could.
That is a very refreshing opinion to hear, though I would be careful who you share that opinion with. So, many people will not agree with you, and it is not exactly a debate that occurs civilly, if you are catching what I'm meaning.
I do, but seeing your two's relationship, I assumed that the prince share the same opinion.
Well, yes, we are both very accepting of one another. Both of us have not the easiest time existing as we are, so to speak. The prince is like looking down at the ground as he says this. But regardless, I suppose you're here for the castle tour?
I am.
Right, well, then enjoy. Maybe we'll see you around some more.
Yes.
The prince would. It was lovely meeting you, but
yeah.
we do have to get off. If you're looking for the history of Baldur's Gate, it looks like, as he is looking over at your books.
I would not make it. Yeah. I would show.
If you go to the 4th floor, there is a sort of spiral staircase that you can see that goes up to essentially like a smaller 5th floor of the library, and there are a lot more special books there, rather. If you would be interested in looking at those as well. You do not seem like the kind of person who means any sort of harm to anybody, so if anyone asks, just tell them that Finn said that you could be there.
Very well. Oh, if we do bump into each other again, please do it when my head's up. I'd like to catch you before he just leaves it off right there.
The prince is like blushing slightly and is just like, yes, we'll be sure, yes, and then turns to leave. The tiefling is shaking his head as he walks out behind them, and they exit out the door you came in. So what would you like to do now that you've had your princely run-in?
Oh, joy. I'm going to go up to the 5th floor then. as I walk up the spiral staircase, I like to keep a eye out to see if I see rare.
Make a perception check.
Oh no. Oh. 18.
You look down and still on the third floor there, kind of sitting in an oversized armchair, just...
About how far away?
She's sitting on, like, the opposite side, so it's probably, like, maybe 300 feet away from you.
Oh, never mind then.
Far enough away that if you shouted at her, it would be really obvious and probably inappropriate. You're in a library. Do you continue up the stairs?
Yeah, I was planning on throwing something, but I was like, no.
I pull out my longbow and
Throw a book.
Alright, so you make your way up to the 5th floor?
Yes.
Alright, so you ascend the spiral staircase. This one is almost, well, not almost, is completely closed off. You can't see the 5th floor from any of the other floors. It stretches across, it kind of shrinks up, so if the first 4 floors go like this, the 5th floor is like this. So it is smaller than the other floors, and the floor is solid.
Oh.
So once you ascend the spiral staircase and you're inside of it, it is its own room.
So I'm going to look for more about the history of Baldur's Gates, the political situation.
So you make an investigation check, though there will be some things that you notice regardless.
That is a solid 8.
Perfect. So you go to look for the books, but you're almost distracted by a few of the displays on pedestals throughout this room. There are, as you just like, it kind of catches your eye and you look over, there are sort of examples of mage folk, like the mage's foci in this room. You see sort of like the handle to an axe that says it is like a very powerful Knight Enchantress focus. You see sort of like a very odd-shaped spherical device that is about this large, stating that it's one of the special arcane zodiac focuses. You see like a really ornate set of gauntlets, described as a blade dancer focus. Just like all sorts of, and like aside from that, just a few other like important artifacts that seem very like powerful and magical in nature. This is like certainly not like the general library room. But aside from all of that, you do eventually get to looking at some of the books. You see a lot of very ancient histories of just like how the world came to be. You see like just some tomes that are written in languages you don't understand. Some that look very, very old. Some that are almost like falling apart. And the last thing that kind of catches your eye is, in its own pedestal, sort of set away from the rest, is a very old, ornate-looking book just sitting covered in glass, and then you can almost sort of see the spells sort of leaking off of the glass. So the very last thing that catches your eye in this room is on a pedestal set away from the rest of them, sort of at the far end of the room, is a very old and ornate-looking book. It seems to be leather bound, but then overset with different gold, silver, and other gems. It is the definition of just opulence, and just, it looks incredible. You can see there's like glass over top of it to protect it, but then on top of that you can see like that the glass is sort of swirling and swimming with magical enchantments that would prevent it from being lifted. What do you do? You also can't quite make out the title of the book from where you're standing.
How much time has passed so far?
Since you've been in here?
Yes.
Approximately 20 minutes.
And rituals take 10 minutes to cast, correct?
That is correct.
I like to cast Comprehend Languages and I have to approach the book.
Are you casting it as a ritual?
Yes.
Alright, so you approach that book. You see its title is E Fate Fabula Histore.
spell it out, please?
I'll send it to you post the session 0.
Okay.
If that is okay.
That's fine.
It is celestial in nature, and it essentially just means the history of fate, is what it translates to. You peer at it. You've heard of this book before, actually. They are incredibly rare, to the point where many of the common masses believe them to just be a myth, but they are the most detailed history of the founding of not only the civilized world, but the universe itself. It is, without a doubt, the most complete and unbelievable history, like book that has ever been recorded. And as you are peering at it, you hear from the opposite side of the stairwell, where from you looked it was just a plain wall over there.
Oh, wonderful.
Enjoying yourself? Do you turn?
Yes, after I say, not as I thought I would.
So you turn and you see a woman approximately 5'7", 5'8". She wears black leather boots that come up to about her mid-thigh. She has on like a plain but still nice like sort of, I almost want to say like a black sort of top, kind of like ruffled at the neck a little bit. Her pants are cut really, really short to the point where they stop even before her boots reach. So there's about maybe this much space in between where her shorts end and her boots begin. She also has a very like fancy white overcoat that she's wearing that is cut like sort of about here, and then is like much, much shorter on the sides. So it probably stops around her hips, and then goes all the way to the back of her knees in the back. So sort of like cut very regally. She has, bring up the rest of her information real quick. She is really, really pale. She has brown hair that is not tied up in any way, that just sort of like tumbles past her noticeably pointed ears. And she has these very, very, the opposite of bright, just like light and airy, almost gray-blue colored eyes that are just sort of intently staring at you and studying you right now. She has sort of a half smirk on her face as she looks you over.
As I said, not as much as I would.
Oh, so does that mean you don't enjoy trespassing then?
I actually have permission to be here.
Yes, from who?
Finn.
Who is Finn?
And also a member named Liari.
I know of Aliari. He is a servant at this castle to one of the princesses here. Though I have never heard of this Finn, and seeing as how I've worked at this castle for nigh on a decade now.
A short half-elf, about a little over 5 foot.
You've just described quite a few people.
I can go further if you like.
Still, do you have any proof?
No, I do not. You can cast a zone of truth if you'd like on me.
I could, but where would the fun in that be? Still, well, up in the 5th floor, on a day when we were having open to the public tours, with absolutely no proof of permission. What to do with you? Now that I think about it, I don't know that I've ever seen your face before.
Doubtful.
Are you not from here?
I thought my accent would give that away.
I try not to judge that so much. People can grow up different places and live other places, but foreigner in our city no less. I'm not sure if you are aware of the rules or what the punishments could be.
I'm sure you're going to say it anyway.
I could, but at the same time, maybe you are telling the truth, and I wouldn't want to see you punished needlessly. That would just be a shame, wouldn't it?
I am starting to doubt even more.
Well,
May I make a guess?
yes.
Is your name Aqua by any chance?
No, though I'm not sure whether to be flattered or insulted that you would think me her. I know Aqua. She is a very nice woman. But unfortunately, you're not dealing with her now. You are dealing with me. My name is Colette.
I'm be playing a few people's revenge here.
I am one of the tutors here at the castle, and well, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You at this point appear to be breaking some minor rules nonetheless, though you might just be guilty of not following proper protocol and not necessarily anything nefarious, say stealing one of our priceless artifacts that are in here. Question: are you wearing all of your equipment that you have right now? No.
I would not wear my weapon openly, so I would have left it in.
Fair enough.
I would have my violin though.
She would take a look at after she said that, she would take a look at the instrument on your back. You play much?
I prefer singing over playing, but yes.
And tell me, do you just so happen to know how to speak Celestial? She gestures back at the book.
No, I do not.
Sorry. She would kind of like look at you with a little bit more renewed interest in her eyes. So then do you know what the title of that book means then?
I was hoping the title would be something else, but yes.
Ah, so you know magics then. Which would press me to believe that you might be, say, a bard?
Oh no, I'm completely a sorcerer that is of vernal bloodline.
Well,
but yes, I am a bard. Well, not yet, at the very least.
Still, good to know. And you seem of slightly royal upbringing. I'm guessing you've partaken in different things, you know, learning various magic spells, learning how to perform, learning how to charm, maybe some combat and fencing.
Wrong on most accounts, but yes on the learning. I try and learn as much as I can just from books in general.
Wrong on all the other accounts, though?
Yes, I was not taught how to flirt or speak or combat or magics. Most of that came naturally, if you find that hard to believe.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, maybe I won't turn you into the guards after all. I have a better idea.
Lovely.
Would you like to follow me?
I don't believe I have a choice in the matter.
We always have choices. Some of them are just not good ones.
And some of them make us.
Fair enough. Follow me. She walks towards a bookcase.
Okay.
Do you follow?
Yes.
She pulls one of the books. She touches one of the books. Touches another one. Touches another one. Touches another one. And then sort of waves her hand across the bookcase. Her hand is sort of glowing with a bright blue sort of arcane magic at this point. And as she does, the bookshelf just folds. Folds again. And you can see there's now like bookcases are about 10 feet tall, and it's now about 6 feet wide, just a doorway that she walks through, into a nice looking office that just seems to be built into the side of this portion of the library.
I'd like to spend a moment just to see if the books are real, out of curiosity.
They are.
I would openly wince at that, seeing a bookshelf just like fold in on itself.
Well, it folds in sort of like how this would fold in, so it sort of like collapses like that, collapses like that. None of the books are harmed.
Oh, that is my concern.
It just seems as though a real bookshelf and real books were used in order to like enhance the illusion and make it harder to think that there might be something there.
Okay.
But she strolls into her office, expecting you to follow. Do you? As soon as you're both inside, she sort of takes about 10 steps from you, turns around. You're in like her desk is sort of on one side. sort of plain, but it has some paperwork on it. The rest of it is fairly open. You have about maybe 25 by 25 feet of open space, and then her desk off to the side. Behind her desk is a row of windows. You can kind of see over a lot of the Noble District from here. It's a nice view. But she takes about 10 steps away from you, turns around, and looks at you with a grin before just the bookshelf. And then her office obviously has a... actually, right now, funny enough, no door.
Interesting.
So you are just... You have a wall, you have a wall, you have a wall, and you have the windows. But you are...
So I was to assume the bookshelf
Yes.
was the doorway.
But you appear to just be stuck in here until she lets you out or anything else. But she gives you a long look over again. So I don't believe I actually caught your name.
Are you actually interested or teasing still?
It's not every day that a random bard, a stranger from another city, wanders up into my private library, seemingly meaning absolutely no ill harm.
Sylvinis
Does that come with the last name?
Nightingale.
A small bit of recognition flashes in her eyes. Interesting. The recognition turns into a mild confusion as you watch before she blinks again and it's gone. Very interesting. Well, regardless, you say a lot of your bardic ability has come naturally to you?
Yes.
Well, then how about I make you a deal? She walks over to the wall behind her desk where she seems to have like a few different supplies and stuff. Reaching down, pulling out of its sheath, she pulls a rapier out of its sheath before turning back to you and tossing it to you.
Okay, I'll try to catch it.
Make a dexterity check.
Oh. 13.
I mean, it's not the most graceful thing in the world, but you're able to sort of kind of catch it two-handed before
Yeah.
putting it out like you typically do.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of like grins at that, seeing it. She pulls her own out, unsheaths it. So, would not want to kill you or anything, so I can cast a spell that will dull the blades, but I advise a duel of sorts. Show me what you got. If you are able to best me, then I will let you out of here and pretend that you never broke rules of any sorts. And if I best you, then there's something that I would like your help with.
Why a duel of blades? You seemed very interested in mentioning magical abilities quite a few times. Why not that way?
Well, I feel like that would be almost a little unfair. I think I've been studying magic longer than you have. But regardless, both are important. It's important to be able to use both in kind.
That is fair.
And plus, you've already demonstrated to me your magical abilities. That is why, one of the reasons why, I'm sure that your help would be appreciated were I to best you.
And the help is law-abiding?
Entirely. After all, I am a very law-abiding citizen. I work as a tutor for the nobles here. How could I not be law-abiding?
But then why would you ask a stranger? You do not know my intentions. You assume I mean goodwill.
I do. Call it a woman's intuition. I wouldn't go so far as to say you seem harmless, but you seem not, I hate to use the word, but evil.
Guess I saw recognition in your eyes, and if you have recognition of what or who I am, I find it hard to believe you think I am not leaning that way.
You're referring to your last name.
Correct.
I do not believe the recognition that you might have noticed means the same to you as it does to me. I might happen to know an individual by that last name, but I can assure you that if you are not from Baldur's Gate, you have never met them.
May I offer a counter deal?
I'm listening.
If I win, which I am quite sure I will not, but I will still do the task that you ask, but you will tell me who that individual is.
I can point you in the correct direction, though at a certain point there are stories that are not mine to tell.
Very well.
All right. In that case, she assumes a combat stance. It seems pretty practiced. She seems to know what she's doing. Shall you strike first, or shall I?
Oh, the hell's with it, as you would go for the first strike.
All right. In that case, we will roll some initiative.
Oh boy. 12.
That's a natural 20. Do you want to actually? I want to make sure you can see this. That this happened to you. The first roll that I ever made against you.
That's alright.
All right.
I haven't rolled. Oh, I think they rolled 2 ones.
So she'll be going first.
Okay.
She is going to make her first attack against you. She's also sort of used an ability to duel your blades that each hit will only deal 1 point of damage. So that way you don't completely murder each other here.
Oh yeah, you mean one-sided murder.
Alright, so her first strike is... Okay, cool. I thought that was another natural 20 for a second. I was like, no way. That is a 21 to hit versus armor class.
That's a hit.
Alright, so you take 1 point of damage as the battle starts and you're like, well, you know what? And you just lunge at her and she just sort of ducks out of the way and catches you just like right below the ribs, just with like, not a soft poke by any means, but playful almost.
Okay.
So she hits you, you sort of recoil back a little bit, kind of like know that that's probably going to bruise a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She sort of is just smirking at you now, sort of like stepping around you slowly, holding her blade out. It is your turn.
Oh, when you said first attack, I thought she had more than one.
No, she only has one.
I can't tell. Yep, that's a 9. 12.
12? 12 misses.
Yeah,
so
I
you go to swing and she just sort of flicks it off.
Mm-hmm.
Before she goes to take another strike back at you. That is a 14 to hit versus armor class. So she flicks it off and then immediately just brings it up on your opposite wrist, just sort of wrapping you on it, almost like a school teacher with a yardstick, just sort of wraps you on it. Once again, brings her blade back up in a defensive stance, just still smirking at you. You take another point of damage, by the way. You've taken 2 points of damage so far. It is your turn. What are you doing?
Something. Darn, it's an action. I'm going to attack again. That's an 8.
8 total?
Yes.
Once you go to swing at her and she parries you off, not even brings it in an on guard stance, just sort of flicks your blade away. You're noticing now that there is a chance that you may be outmatched in this endeavor.
Oh, I knew that.
Her next swing is only going to be a 9 to hit versus armor class.
That is strangely not a hit.
So she just brings her blade around almost in an over dramatic motion. You're sworn that she's just attempting to trick you, but you bring your blade down, you're able to parry it, sort of hold it there, and then push her off. She has a little glimmer that goes through her eyes as you do that. She just sort of nods to herself twice before bringing her blade back up, her smirk now growing. Is your turn once more? What are you going to do now?
Normal attack, which is reading something. That's a 13.
13? 13 also misses.
Oof.
She once again just parries it away. She seems to just be... It seems almost effortless.
Should have made a paladin.
She swings back at you again. She is going to use a special ability. That's cocked.
Oh, she cocked even with that?
Yeah. So she uses her special ability to perform a feinting attack. She sort of like darts for a second towards your neck, which even with a dulled blade you know is going to hurt. So you quick pull up to parry, but she only sort of like goes halfway through the attack before immediately bringing it back down and catching you right across the hip in like a feint attack. As you take a 3rd point of damage, I believe.
Yes.
From that, but it seems that though this is like definitely a more skilled attack than just a standard bladesman would know.
Right, I'll make my attack. 13 again.
Once again,
noticing
misses,
a trend.
Once again, misses as she just parries it away. She just like at this point is just looking at you. It's almost like you don't even want to hit me. Are you trying your absolute best?
Obviously.
That's almost disappointing. She comes again. That is a 21 to hit versus armor class, which I'm sure does hit.
Yep.
With this one, she brings it down, seeming like she's going for your blade, so you're just like kind of ready to parry, but she sort of rakes it along the handle of your blade and sort of like wraps your knuckles that are holding the swords. Definitely kind of stings. It's hard to even like continue holding it after that, but you're able to shake it off a little bit.
Yeah, I can feel that.
You've now taken 4 points of damage. At this point, she brings her blade up again and is still just like giving you a playful smirk, but something like another thing behind that that's also a little hard to read. What will you be doing?
Thank you. I'll wait on that. I'll do another attack. 10.
Also misses. You must not have a very high bonus to this.
Oh.
Either that or you're rolling poorly. Maybe both.
Both. The highest I rolled so far has been a 10.
That's
for this combat.
So she once again just at this one like parries off, like not only parries but sort of like holds your blade there, and it's just sort of like testing like how hard you're swinging. Are you holding back? I feel like you're holding back.
Yes and no.
No need to do so on my account. Flicks it off, goes to make a strike of her own. That is a 18 to hit versus armor class. Once again, strikes you for a 5th point of damage. This one almost like right in like the solar plexus.
Alright, I am going to use a bonus action. I'm going to cast Healing Word on myself. That would be 1d4 plus spell casting, which would be 3. No, that'd be 4. So I would get 5 health back, so I am back at full.
She sees this happen and is now just like shaking her head at you.
And make a strike. Oh, that's a 21.
21 will hit.
Wow.
So, where do you hit her?
That's gonna get me killed. Across the cheek.
Alright. Oh boy. Okay. So, she's already like shaking her head slightly, seeing you use this magic. And as she goes to open her mouth to say something, you bring your blade right across her cheek. Quick turn to the side as it hits her. She looks up at you. You can see a thin line where the blade was and some drips of blood now coming down her cheek, dripping to her chin and then off of her face onto the pristine white marble floor. Well, you You certainly have some balls, I'll give you that much.
Would you like to be healed?
No, there's no need for that. So, based on how this has gone this far, actually, I'll tell you what. I'm impressed. Why don't we call it a draw?
Why?
Well, I'll admit, I did not expect you to land any strikes on me, and you did, and I did not expect you to block any of mine, yet you did. So, color me impressed.
Is that color red at the moment?
It's no matter. I've been hit harder.
I'm not very skilled with blades, so I imagine so.
Well, that thankfully, unlike your magical abilities, which are equally impressive, can be taught if one wishes to learn. So, on our deal, I'll tell you what. Since it is a draw, I will not inform anyone else of your adventures here into the 5th floor library.
I feel there's a huge but coming.
Well, you said regardless that you would agree to help me, yes?
That is true.
So, we each get something. And I get to offer you something else as well, something that could benefit you as much as it benefits me. You are a bard, I am a bard. I believe this is something that I may have more experience than you in. So, I propose that for you, you let me do my job. A tutor. It is not very often that I get students of your caliber. You seem like you would be an interesting challenge, and I'm curious to see what you make of yourself in this city. And if I could do something to help you succeed, then maybe I would like to do that.
Even if that's plans of the destruction of the city?
I do not think that that is something that you would plan for. Answer me a question.
Very well.
When I say this name, what comes to mind? Mistra.
Slavery.
Slavery.
Yes.
And why is that?
Just like the Book of Fate. Why should man listen to king or god when they cannot decide their own fate? Why do we have to look at a book, listen to a god tell us, or listen to someone else tell us what we make of our own fate? Mistra's name holds slavery among many.
Among many, though she is still a goddess for good, a goddess of magics. And a goddess is known that has done many benevolent things for both those who follow her and those who don't.
I just don't think a god or goddess, good or evil, should hold a life in their hands and be the reason why they are alive.
You don't think, given the chance to save a life, they should?
No, but telling them, worship me and you shall live, is quite different from that. There's a difference between saving a life and telling that life you live because of me or live for me.
That is fair, though their reasons are ones we may not understand. Regardless, someone who thinks so critically on these kinds of things, and who is so analytical, focused, some may even say cold, is not the kind of person I believe who would plan a destruction for the city.
Who knows? Weird things have happened, but I do not plan a destruction of Baldur's Gate. So far, people have been friendly, cheerful, honest, unlikely to hurt a soul.
Myself included.
Do you include yourself in that?
I think I'm at least some of those things. I simply act of my own accord, and what others make of me, others make of me. I am not tied to any fate in particular.
Not to Mistra? There has to be a reason you threw that name of all.
Not me. Tell me, do you have a personal connection to Mistra? Is this why you feel so strongly about her specifically? Or do you feel this way about all gods and goddesses?
Yes and no.
A secret for a secret, then?
Very well.
It is my sister that is tied to Mistra.
Mine as well.
And that we should meet in this castle upon your first visit. Well, maybe there is fate after all, is there not?
Perhaps.
But then again, it begs the question. Were we fated to do everything that we have just done, or simply fated to meet, and we have the free will to do of that what we will?
Depending on the individual, they would argue with either case.
I'd like to think I'm free to do whatever I want, within reason. There's simply a lot that I do for other people. Regardless, I do not think you are a bad person. And so, I extend to you my tutelage if you would have it. And if you are in from out of town, I do imagine that you may have some issues with perhaps finances.
Perhaps I figured that you were going to go on with the business of the tasks you wish to be done.
I wish for you to meet my sister. And after that, I may have a way for you to acquire the funds you need to live in the city.
And you're offering tutelage for free?
I am. Like I said, call it a woman's intuition, call it whimsy, call it fate, call it whatever you want. But I sense potential in you to do a lot more than just what I teach.
Why your sister?
You'll see.
And do I expect to have a few bruises from her also? Or is this just a thing you do only?
I don't think she is the type to bruise. She is much more naive, trusting, bubbly, very much unlike myself. Though one could argue that I am the way that I am so that I can protect the way that she is how she is.
And she naive because she connected herself to Mistra, in your opinion?
No. That was not something that she reached out for first, and it is something that if she wishes to do, I support fully. She has a number of gifts, which is one of the reasons why I accepted my position here. Though, when you meet her and those are spoken of, that is a secret that I expect you to keep as well.
What benefit would I get from revealing secrets such as that?
Depends how much you enjoy playing the political game here. Though you seem like someone who has no time nor patience for that sort of foolishness.
If I had a choice, there'd be no more noble games.
See, I knew there was a reason I liked you. So then, is that a yes to my deal? Alright. In that case, your first lesson, she twirls her blade back up, points it at you once more, begins now. So, this is for you. You are getting a feat in the form of what her tutoring is going to give you as you spend the next, I would say probably 30, 45 minutes doing this. At this point, the time for your tour has
I was
come
gonna
and
say,
gone.
oh no.
Yeah. But there is a feat for you. Once you take your next long or short rest, that will become available for you. So you can read all the details of that afterwards.
Question.
Answer.
I know he would do this like halfway through the tutoring.
Yes.
He would stop and go, just like blurt out, "Wait! I have a companion with me, and I do not know if they'll be allowed to continue with their tour unmolested by others because of her race. Is there a chance she can be somewhere where that will not happen?"
Yes. What does your companion look like?
A red tiefling. Probably the only red tiefling in the castle that is not a servant here already.
Yes. Give me one moment. She would walk to her desk, write a small note, sort of lean out of her, open up one of her windows and lean out, until a bird, a raven actually, would fly up to her window. She would place the note in the raven's mouth, and the raven would fly off. Someone should be going to get her, someone who I trust will leave her unharmed and unbothered.
Thank you.
One of the prefixes is if it makes you feel any better.
No, but I trust your word about it.
Alright, so you two continue on your way of finishing off the rest of your stuff. The rest of the tutoring session, that is, you acquire a number more bruises from her teaching you how to perform a couple of the skills that she displayed during your fight. Until all of a sudden from the if this is where the bookcase wall was.
Yes.
This is where her desk is.
Yes.
These are the windows.
Yes.
From this wall,
Yes.
all of a sudden you are interrupted by someone pounding on the wall itself. And from the other side you hear, "Oi, let, you gotta open, God damn it, how do you make this door appear?" The pounding continues. Colette just, a moment, if you will, goes up to the wall, sort of traces the outline of a doorway with that same blue magic before eventually a door appears. You would see a figure go to pound on the now not there wall anymore, and just kind of falls slightly into the room before catching themselves stumbling and like looking up, sort of like glaring at Colette as she does that. You would see someone in, if you've ever seen anyone throughout the city in a mage uniform before, it is just a very simple black cloak with black boots, black tights, and this person is wearing a hat alongside of it, sort of like a pointed hat with a very like wide, thick brim,
Like
kind
the
of
traditional, like
the
witch hat.
the point slumped off to one side that had
Okay.
a sort of band around it that had like a jewel set into the band, like probably this much around, set kind of like sewed into the hat. Out of character, that actually denotes the hat, and the jewel denotes the status of a prefect.
Gotcha.
Which over the course of the conversation would probably get explained to you, so would kind of like pick up on that.
Gotcha.
But this specific individual has like a slightly angular but still pretty kind of intense face. Making sure I get all of their description stuff right. They have bright, like crimson red hair that just kind of falls down just a little bit past their shoulders. It's a little unkempt, but still like nice enough. Right. So, aside from the traditional mage features, she has angular face, pretty though slightly intense. A couple of like small scars across like her cheeks. Bright red hair that falls down just past her shoulders. and also just very intense green eyes. Wait. Yes, very intense green eyes. Just making sure I don't mix up any of my character descriptions here, introducing everybody new. So, she also has a number of daggers hanging off of her belt as she's like glaring at Colette. And so after that, she looks at you, also like ears covered, but it doesn't look like she has pointed ears. I won't say that you can see that much. So she glares at Colette and she's like, you know, you don't have to do that every single time that I go to knock on your wall. You can just leave the door there. There's no reason to. Oh, hi. Finally seeing you.
Oh, is it funny? What's the punchline then?
I don't know. It's not a very funny joke, to be honest. She could just leave the door there like a normal person. And Colette just kind of gives like a non-committal shrug. It's just like, is there a reason that you're barging into my office when I have a new student nonetheless in here? The redhead is just a new. Well, no, there's like a slight commotion that you hear from out in the hallway. Before actually, another person in a mage's outfit. This one, their hat has a light blue gem stuck in it. They have blue hair that sort of like falls down well past their shoulders, kind of to their mid back. They're holding two weapons that actually you just saw it, so I won't even make you roll for it. Look, kind of the handles look almost exactly like the handle that you saw in the 5th floor library that represented a focus for a Knight Enchantress foci. One is emitting like a blue and white sort of blade. The other one is emitting like a red and black sort of blade, but it definitely seems like this is the Knight Enchantress prefix. You can probably guess. And tagging along behind her is Rare. The gal in also the gal in blue, face wise, is built exactly the same as the redhead that just went in. The only differences in their appearance being the blue hair, and her eyes are sort of like a soft kind of slightly unnatural pink color.
And scars, I presume.
Yes, no scars on her. She does also seem a little bit more
defined,
sturdily built.
Okay,
I will say. One seems to be very strong. The other one seems to be very dexterous.
Gotcha.
But as she comes in, Colette kind of like gives a nod, and then seeing the tiefling just goes, "Ah, is this your friend?"
Yes.
Or just kind of like waves to you and just like points them. I met new people.
I see that you did.
Aqua then would introduce herself as Aqua.
I would have been like Aqua, I presume.
She nods. Yes, you are
Sylvinis.
Nice to meet you. Tragic, it's not under slightly better circumstances. Colette, the 4th floor hallway, there are skeletons and zombies in it, and they are sort of running amok. Colette just sort of like recoils slightly and just is slightly confused for a second, before finally like a look of recognition flashes across her face, and she just goes, Griffin. And then a look of recognition floods into the other two eyes as well and goes, do you think he couldn't have had something go this bad, could he? The redhead is speaking now. Just, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just come with us. Can he fight? Colette kind of once again just gives like a shrug. All right, close enough. Come in with us. She sort of grabs you, drags you along before stopping in Rare. I'm looking at Rare a second. Can she fight?
No.
Rare kind of like scoffs at you, looks at the redhead. Give me 2 of those. Pointing to like the daggers on her belt before the redhead looks at you, looks at her, looks at her, and just goes, I like her at least. Hands her the knives, runs off. Are you tagging along as she drags you?
Yes.
All right, so the 5 of you make your way downstairs to the hallway before you stumble across looks like some not precautions necessarily, but some shenanigans have already taken place here. There are a couple of zombie corpses already just laying on the ground. Some scattered bones, but there still are 2 skeletons and 1 zombie just standing in the hallway, sort of just shambling about. One of the skeletons, just finished like smashing through a statue on this hallway. And as you come down and you all sort of like stop at the base of these stairs, they all sort of turn to you. Just hear Rare beside you. This is not exactly what I had in mind when we signed up for a tour of the castle.
No, but remember what I said about the 10% of magic, how it's chaotic?
This is that.
Yes, this is that.
Oh boy. And with that, I'm going to need to roll initiative.
Oh, my favorite number. 11.
All right, that works. So, with that, we'll have Colette will be going first. The zombie is about, I'd say, maybe 20 feet from you, with the two skeletons probably sitting on either side of the hallway, 10 feet behind the zombie.
Okay.
Through this hallway. Do some theater of the mind stuff here. Colette just charges at the zombie, but before she does, she looks back at you and just, you remember what I taught you?
Yes.
Good, then let's go. She will run off after one of them, attempting to strike the zombie. That'll hit. She will deal... That's a 1 on the damage roll.
Oof.
What's her bonus again?
Like fairly decent.
Dealing 5 points of damage to the zombie.
Nice.
Sort of kind of brings it through one of the shoulders. You can see some of the skin kind of like separate a bit as it just like stumbles back. She drops back once again into like her defensive stance that you've seen her do when she fought you. That ends her turn. Next up is you.
Okay. So I am with Aqua and Mysterious One.
Oh, the redhead who hasn't
Yes.
introduced herself yet?
Yes.
And Rare.
And Rare. And you said Aqua was the sturdier one?
Aqua looked pretty sturdy, yes.
I'd like to give a bardic inspiration to Aqua then.
Got you.
And then I'll move. Is there flanking?
There is flanking.
I'd like to flank to the opposite side of where Colette is to attack the zombie.
Sounds good. Roll your attack with advantage.
Okay. And the inspiration will be D6 for Aqua.
I'm just going to use that on, what is it, skill checks and saves?
And attacks.
And attacks. Even better.
19.
That would hit. Roll some damage.
D8. 7.
7. Not bad. So as you flank, you sort of get behind it. The zombie sort of like, kind of like slowly like turns between the two of you, sort of panicking a little bit. You get a nod of approval from Colette as she recognizes what you're doing strategically. And you sort of are able to strike through right above the hip bone, sort of almost causing the zombie to like slouch a little bit from the area that you've cut out. It definitely looks already pretty beaten up. These don't seem to be the sturdiest of creatures.
Okay. I know this might not make a difference or not. I like to turn like my head, like my body facing the zombie, but my head towards the skeletons to see if they can get it. Because they're only 10 feet away, so get ready for their possible attack.
Definitely fair. Next up are the twins. You would see Aqua sort of run past, kind of staying far enough away from the zombie so that she doesn't invoke any casual swipes coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got distracted by kittens. As she runs through, as she passes you, rather, you would hear her, "Thank you for the help," before she just brings both blades down, first one and then the other on the skeleton to the left. That'll hit. Second one will also hit. That is 8 points of damage. And alright, that is enough. You would see her using her bardic inspiration, actually. She comes through and just her first sword, the white and blue one, sort of carving down across the bones, sort of breaking a lot of the ribs apart, causing the skeleton to sort of hunch forward, and the second sword just comes down and kind of catches right at the base of the neck and just shatters the bones onto the ground. They're not moving anymore.
Okay. Good.
After that, you would see the other. You're presuming they're twins as they look almost exactly identical, aside from the hair color and the eye color.
And scars.
What? And the scars, yes. Can't forget those. Chick stick scars.
Totally.
She would start speeding towards the second skeleton, once again skirting away from the zombie, and you would see her kind of grab 2 daggers on her side and sort of fling them up into the air in front of her before snapping both of her fingers, and they both stay in an aura sort of around her. Getting a better look at her gloves now, and once again seeing the artifacts that you saw in the 5th floor library, you can assume that she is actually probably a blade dancer, part of the Mage Academy.
Interesting.
They're very, very good at manipulating different, mainly daggers, but sorts of like blades, and their magic sort of revolves around the aura they have that controls them.
Okay.
So she would kind of just like stop right next to. She wouldn't need to go all the way there. She would actually stop right next to you and just go, "Not bad. Probably shouldn't turn your back on people though," and then throw, kind of like use her hands to sort of like motion the first dagger and then the second dagger towards the skeleton. The first one hits. Second one hits. They don't have very much AC. And then they deal 8 points of damage and 6 points of damage. That is actually just enough.
Nice.
The first one sort of striking right, almost like in the pelvis region where that collection of bones is kind of like pretty sturdy. Hitting it, knocking it forward before the second one catches it right in the skull and just sort of smashes the skull back. The daggers sort of kind of like, after they leave her aura fall, the one is like stuck into the bone still, the other one kind of clatters to the ground among the pile of bones. And then as soon as that one drops, she just, seeing no more monsters behind it, goes, "Actually, never mind, good move." Next up is actually Rare. So Rare is going to dash up and attempt to swipe at the zombie using one of her daggers that she acquired from the mysterious lady. Mm-hmm. I will say, make an insight check.
Okay.
9. Alright, so not a ton, but you do know Rare pretty well, which gives you a bonus. And also, having just spent the afternoon fighting with Colette, yes, the way that she is holding and gripping this dagger, and as she goes through her swing with it, it doesn't look like this is her first time doing this. Okay. And that will certainly hit as well. A good showing on top of that. Dealing only 3 points of damage. But still, as the zombie's kind of stuck, like, sort of turns to her, and before it even has a chance to move, sort of reaches up one of its arms, and she kind of slices right through the wrist, kind of slicing one of the hands off, before bringing the dagger kind of like back up in a slightly defensive position. Like I said before, she looks at least slightly practiced. That said, because she's the one that should just hit it, zombies don't have very good memory. The zombie is going to swing towards her. The slam attack. And hit. So bringing up the other arm, the zombie is going to deal 2 entire points of damage to Rare. Sort of bring up the other arm and kind of like catching her on the side, not like jostling her a bit, but she kind of like maintains her ground. Alright, that ends its turn. You all kind of have this surrounded now. It's seeming like this is boiling down. Colette will take another stab at it, and okay, yeah, that hits. I forgot.
Okay.
I was like, it was really low, but it was only a 9, but zombies' ACs are real low, so I forgot that she didn't have to worry about it too bad. Dealing 5 points of damage. Zombie's looking really rough, but it is still standing as she slashes through it. It is your turn. Having just seen Rare get slammed, what would you like to do? It's also looking very rough.
I like to do my action, then from there I'll decide my bonus action.
Got you.
I'm still flanking, so I'll strike with advantage. 12.
That'll hit. Roll some damage.
That'll be 8.
Alright, so they have to make a con save. But unfortunately, that is a natural 5, which even plus 3 will absolutely not be enough. You slice through, like, kind of on the opposite hip. Then you slice the first time, but you catch some of the spine in it too. So as soon as you do it, the zombie almost like falls sideways and folds in on itself before it drops to the ground. No longer animated. As it does, sheathing her rapier, Colette gives you a polite round of applause. You're a very quick learner.
Since we already moving faster to cast Cure Wounds on Rare's injury.
As you do that, Rare would kind of like not stop you from doing it, but sort of like playfully be against like you fussing over her like that because it wasn't like a huge injury. It's like you don't need to do this. I'm really fine. Stop.
I don't believe you have a choice in this matter.
With all the three of them now, just like very curiously watching this happen. So what do you do after you finish casting Cure Wounds? She kind of like gives up eventually and just lets you do it.
I would return the blade to Colette.
She takes it and then just, you can keep it.
I already have my own. It is back at the inn.
Fair enough. She would pocket that one on the other hip before Aqua would eventually come up to you. So I understand you're her new student?
Correct.
How long have you been?
30 minutes.
Really? Kind of like looks at the zombie on the ground, looks at you. Quick learner. Before the mysterious woman comes up. Not to be a dick or anything, but Rare like fumbles, gives the daggers back, just thanks. Oh, sorry, what'd you say your name was again?
Sylvinis Nightingale. I'm starting to get tired of saying my name today.
That's I'm sorry. One more time?
Sylvinis
Not that part.
Nightingale.
Huh. Weird. Whatever. Nice to meet you. I'm, well, people just call me Knight.
As your first name?
Sure.
I'm starting to believe that giving fake names is the common courtesy here.
I don't think that's true. Her name's actually Aqua, and her name is... Did you tell him your name? Colette just nods. Her name is actually Colette. It's embarrassing. Don't worry about it. She just sort of turns around and continues walking down the hallway. And before Aqua turns to you, apologies that we had to cut your session short like that. If you would like to, you can meet what we believe is the cause of this commotion if you would like, since it doesn't appear that you, she has to like bite her lip to stop herself from smirking, got particularly far on your tour.
Is it task that you've given Colette a time crunch?
What?
The task that you wanted me to do.
Who are you speaking to at this point? Colette. We can leave after this. It's not too big of a deal.
Then yes, I'll go with you on the cause of this little incident.
Oh, well, it's actually just right in this hallway. They would lead you to a door in the hallway. Inside, as you kind of peer inside, it's a decent amount of books, a large amount of vials, a large amount of it looks like a full-on science workshop in here. There are notes scattered everywhere. There are beakers and different liquids and different potions and everything scattered everywhere, different ingredients stacked up on a huge shelf. And then kind of working through a huge pile of papers and a couple of vials is a small gnome man. The really distraught kind of gray beard that kind of goes like halfway down his chest, kind of puffs of gray hair sticking up all over the place. He's in more common clothes. He's not. It seems he's forgone any of the Mage Academy clothing. He's just in like work pants, some boots, and sort of like a long jacket that kind of comes halfway down his thighs. And he's just sort of like frantically like pulling through things, kind of muttering to himself. And then eventually, like, do you do anything as you go in, or do you kind of like wait for someone else to take the lead?
Just considering there was a zombie and skeletons, and this place looks like it's gonna blow up any second, so this is gonna stick by the door.
All right. In that case, Colette would kind of take the lead as she took a couple steps in and just goes, "Well, Griffin, now that we've finished cleaning up your mess for you, is there anything else you would like us to do before we leave?" And he just sort of like stops and turns around and just, "Oh, I sorry about that. I was not expecting that result to happen. Yes." And just sort of turns back around and begins like working on stuff again. Colette just shakes her head. The two twins just like look at both you and Rare, and are just like, just kind of give you like shrugs, like they don't.
I'm starting to miss home.
Finally, upon hearing your voice, actually, he would turn back around to look at you and just goes, "Oh, I had not realized that there were new people here as well. Sorry, my name is Professor Griffin. I'm not a mage, but I work here as a mage. It is nice to meet you. Sorry you had to see one of my experiments. It's like that. Normally they are so easy to control, but lately things have been getting a little weird, as you say."
Have you tried collars and leashes?
"I have not, but that might not be a bad idea." As soon as he says that, like, Colette is already just, but regardless, yes, I'm sorry, did you tell me your name? I forgot.
You did not forget. You can just call me Sylvinis.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Sylvanus. Thank you again for your help. Like I said, normally this does not happen. It's just very strange for that to happen like that all of a sudden. Normally they are so easy to control. This time they broke free. It's as the magic around here is getting harder and harder to work with as the weave changes.
I've been hearing that's quite a common occurrence.
Yes, it is. I am working to studying the ways in which it is affecting various schools of magic. I am a bit of a unique case here at this university. I believe I am my only kind that is here.
And as he motions to the potions and vials in this way, or are you talking about?
Oh, well, I am a wizard, and many of us do not exist around anymore. In fact, I am the only one that you know from any of the major cities, but still, I'm doing my best to kind of study what is causing this magical backup of sorts.
You seem more than just a wizard. From just judging by this room alone, you seem to be almost more of a alchemist.
I dabble here and there, though many of these things I have not made myself, I will admit.
Interesting.
I simply use them for my experiments. It is mostly what I am permitted to do, as I have come up with more than a few important discoveries.
Do go on.
Another time. It does not look like you have time. If you like turn around, you can see like Colette like glaring at him, and as you turn around, she just like goes back to giving you like a polite look.
Are you sure? I'm sure Colette would love to hear about it.
No, it's quite alright. I should get back to my work anyway. This is the most important. Kind of turns around. It was nice to meet you though, by the way. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Just Syl. It's easier to remember that way.
Syl. I like that. And then goes back and continues working on his various notes, and at that point, Colette grabs you by the back of your collar and starts pulling you out of the room.
Is every mage in this building like this?
Both twins cross their arms as they look at you, and Colette is just like, "What?"
Interesting.
Well, I think all people are interesting, don't you?
No, I've met quite a few people that... Never mind.
Fair enough. She turns to the two twins. Is there anything else you needed us for? Have we solved all of your problems for the afternoon? The two just sort of like roll their eyes at her before Aqua's finally the one that responds. No, I believe that was just about everything, and aside from that, we do have other business to get to, so we should probably head back to the academy at this point, make sure all of the initiates haven't burned everything down yet. They both turn around. Knight just goes right off before Aqua, like, after seeing her stroll off without saying anything, just turns around again, rolling her eyes. For my sister's sake and mine as well, it was nice meeting both of you. I hope we can meet again under times when one of our professors does not release monstrosities into the hallways.
Perhaps.
She bows, and then walks away, leaving you and Colette and Rare there by yourself. Rare is just... That was very exciting, wasn't it?
I think excitement can be a bit much at times. I am starting to launch for a good book right now, without the worry of being turned over to guards or such.
Turned over to... Who would turn us over to guards?
Just people.
Colette sort of like butts in. Well, those sound like the wrong kind of people then. Alright, are you still interested in coming to meet a certain someone?
I am.
Alright.
I did say I would do it. I like to think I'm a man of my word.
That is a good thing. Those are sometimes hard to find. She turns towards Rare. You are welcome to come along as well. And leads you, not even back through her office, just sort of down like a grand set of stairs that lead you back into what will eventually be the grand like entrance.
As we were walking, I'd like to just make a comment to Rare.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor, Rare?
Yeah.
If you meet a very short half-elf by the name of Finn, could you just let me know? Because I want to tell them how much I appreciated the help they gave me.
Alright, I'll keep my eye out for short half-elves named Finn. That's really specific, but okay.
Thank you.
Anytime. She seems kind of confused. Alright, so she leads you to the grand entranceway, past the squire that is still sitting there. As he looks up and sees you two with her, kind of like gives you a smirk, seeing as how he like let you know it would be interesting if you met Colette. Like gives you like a smirk before, and making sure that Colette doesn't see it before going back down to work on what he's working on. She leads you out of the castle if you don't do anything else.
Yeah. I would like to cast a message. And all the message is going to be, I will remember this.
To who?
To the squire.
You receive a message back maybe a couple seconds later. It's a little weird to hear someone laughing inside of your mind, but you hear him like biting back laughter, and then finally, I mean, I warned you. And to be fair, if you spent the entire afternoon with her, I'm sure you will remember it. That is all he says. Alright, so she leads you down the path back to the main road that you were on.
Yes.
You do not do anything? If you're still following?
No. I won't try to break away or anything.
She leads you to... Just let me know if there's ever anything that you would like to say or do as she leads you on this journey. She leads you through the Noble District to the gates of the Noble District. Leads you through that to the more Merchant District. Leads you through the Merchant District towards like the outer districts where a lot of the commoners live. Leads you through the Common District to the city gates, where, you know, outside is where the Dust Town is, where a lot of the outcasts of the city live. Leads you out the front gates and leads you down the Dust Road that has like the ramshackle buildings just kind of thrown up side to side with a lot of like the cheap inns and taverns and cheap homes of people typically of races that like aren't super approved of, or people who don't have any money, things like that.
How long have these? He would say as soon as they like go by some of these buildings. How long have these been here?
These well, they have been rebuilt quite a few times, though In general, Dusttown has stood as long as Baldur's Gate has stood. Obviously, when it comes to an invasion, they are, of course, the first things to burn and to fall, as is meant of the lower and poorer classes and races, I
They
suppose.
don't try to build a wall at their limits.
What point? The nobles have no concern for what goes on out here.
And knights, paladins, clerics, mages, they don't try anything. Surely you outnumber them, or even have enough influence to override them a bit with talking with the council.
We could, though. Many people that live out here are races that not a lot of people care for, so...
Alive is still alive.
Try explaining that to the council, try explaining that to the nobles, and see how far it gets you.
I can see about that.
Not to say that I disagree with you. I just simply know it's something as an argument that I've already made dozens of times that has been ignored dozens of times. And also, you would do well to mind what opinions you share in what places. I admire the opinions that you hold, though not everyone will feel like I do.
It already seems me giving my opinions of army once today, not by your hands.
She would kind of continue down this dust road if you don't have anything else to say.
He wouldn't.
Until eventually she led you to... It's homey, in a sense, trying to describe what this building looks like. It's one story. No like front porch or back porch or anything. It's just a one story sort of like ranch. Calling it ramshackle would almost make it seem like it's not run down or anything, but it's definitely like kind of patchwork thrown together. Looks like it might be, you know, 1 or 2 rooms, but it's probably about like 35 feet by 30 feet and like a slightly rectangular just wooden building with like a wooden slat roof, just very basic. She just sort of kind of walks up to the door, knocks twice just to see if, I guess, if anyone's home, before you hear some rustling inside, and a voice from inside goes, "Oh, that must be Colette now," and then some sort of footsteps coming towards the door. Colette is just, wait, who is in there? As the door will open, and in that case, you will be meeting another one of the PCs now, so we will take a quick break so we can bring her out so the two of you can meet each other as you enter this house.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be live streaming November 9th at twitch.tv/TUFDND. For more updates and content from us, check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at TUFDND, links in the description. From all of us here out at the Unlucky Few, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. See you later.
Thank you so much for watching.